لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. اللهم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. سبحانك لا نحصي ثناء عليك أنت كما أثنيت على نفسك، أنت المقدم وأنت المؤخر وأنت على كل شيء قدير. اللهم اجعل جمعنا هذا جمعا مرحوما والتفرق بعده تفرقا معصوما ولا تدع فينا شقيا ولا محروما. In the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the most compassionate, the most merciful, all praise and thanks are due to Him, and peace and blessings be upon His beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. He who is guided by the will of Allah, no one can misguide him, and he who is misguided, no one can guide him except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today, inshallah, with the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, our 143 session of the general seerah and our 13 session of the first rightly guided Caliph Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. Last time it was a simple part of Hurub al-Ridda, which is apostasy wars. We talked about Jam' al-Quran, compiling the Quran. Today we return back to the general idea, which was last part of it, which is Hurub al-Ridda, the apostasy war. Why? What is the definition of Ridda, apostasy? What does it mean? No definition, no prohibition. If we don't define, we should be aware about what we are talking about. Why these wars happened? What was the reaction of Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu? What kind of disputes happened between Abu Bakr and Umar and the rest of the Sahaba? What was the end result? Who did it? The motivations, you understand. As I keep reminding myself and you respected brothers and sisters, the seerah is a very powerful tool to understand the Sunnah and the Quran. Quran is a literal text, scripture from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Hadith of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it's his sayings, his actions, his reactions, his approval, his rejection, all of this called hadith. Okay? Now the seerah, it describes the historical big context where these texts came. So it's like more or less seerah as if you are watching a movie. Inside the movie there are scenes or texts or sayings, but with the big picture. So understanding the seerah will help you greatly to enjoy understanding Quran and Sunnah, by the way. So when you have more about seerah, okay, which is now seerah, it's a special terminology. Literally, it means the biography. Siratul Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the biography of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Technically, okay, it covers much more than direct biography of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because it covers even before his birth. It gives us the big picture why Allah, by His wisdom, chose Arabic Peninsula for this revelation out of Persia, Europe, Rome, Africa. Why Arabic Peninsula? It's part of the seerah. What was the status? They were such and such details. So, what happened before the birth of Prophet Muhammad? What happened between his birth and his receiving for the revelation? And. So, now we covered this in general, and we reached to the idea when Muhammad passed away, then Abu Bakr became the Khalifa. We had a good idea why Abu Bakr, what kind of characteristics Abu Bakr, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, had by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, was his very, very close friend to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. 2 years between them, what kind of political status, financial status he used to have, and Allah enabled him. What did Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam do with regard to Abu Bakr about giving him the priority in many things, which was like a big indication that he should be the first leader after the disappearance of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam from this life. And it happened by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala honored him. Now, today we will see one of the big, last time we covered as well, the Ba'ath Usama. Ba'ath Usama, the army which Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was preparing in the period before he became very sick, then he passed away. We had the discussion about why. It's a great, just 17, 18 years old, he was the commander, he was the leader, he was the Amir, okay, of an army contains, Umar radiallahu anhu and the great Sahaba. And what happened, we had the context of the Romans at that time, how they did many times. One of them, they killed the ambassador of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam at the very beginning, sending the messages, Mu'ta. Then we had the Tabuk, where Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam received an intelligence, information that they were preparing to attack Al-Medina. So he went to them and they flee. Heraclius himself just disappeared. The third time they were preparing to attack again. Then Muhammad ﷺ prepared, then he passed away. So Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu realized now, and he did. By sending this, subhanallah, today we realize how wise and how was he rightly guided by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Al-Khulafa al-Rashidun, they were inspired by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That, you know, the signs of apostasy, it began at the year 9 before Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Yani Musaylam al-Kadhab that we know about him now. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad al-Aswad al-Ansi from al-Yemen. So some of them, they started rejecting and attacking and declaring that they are prophets of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam before, about 1 year and a half, 2 years before that. But they were not with that influence. Just, you know, a marginal issue. When they hear that Muhammad ﷺ passed away, you know, immediately it's their opportunity. Let's, you know, declare it. Let's make it big. Let's attack. Let's. Common sense means, when it says, Abu Bakr should not have sent the army of Usama because they would be attacked by Murtaddin, the apostates. Okay, the apostate. Yet Abu Bakr sent. And it took Usama, you know, most of the fighters, they were in the army. The most important defense system of the Medina. 40 days they disappeared from Medina. Yet he insisted. What happened? Abu Bakr realized that if we did this, everyone from the far areas of Arabs and the Romans, they said, if even when their prophet, their leader passed away, they are ready to fight. They are very tough people, so leave them. So they guaranteed the big Arabic peninsula and the Romans and the Persians, none of them will think to attack them. So they get guaranteed by this. Then now the level of the apostates, you know, went big and bigger and bigger and bigger. So, and they had what we call apostasy wars, حروب الردة. طيب, let's go now step by step with Dr. Ali As-Sallabi. I chose the most important points that we need. Now, number one, the definition. What is ridda? When we say حروب الردة in Arabic, what is the ridda? And you know, in Islam, definition is very important. When I tell you have to be a Muslim, okay, thank you. I want to be a Muslim. What does Muslim mean? Yeah, خلاص, just be a Muslim. What does Muslim mean? Tell me. Muslim is what? You need to define what Islam. That's why I always keep telling my students at the university, we as students of ilm, of sharia, always you need the definition of what you are talking about, or you want to tell people or to do must be clear, or otherwise it will be a loose. That's why one of the very important, beautiful, let's say, statements in English language, it says, no definition, no prohibition. No definition. If you don't define, you can't put restriction or say this is illegal or illegal because it's not defined. If I tell you, be careful, it's haram to eat XNOO. What is it, Sheikh, that it's haram to eat it? It's XNOO. Okay, what is it? Yeah, regardless, خلاص, don't eat it. Okay, I will not eat it, but what is it? It doesn't matter, don't eat XNOO. What does this mean? This is an empty talk. If I say XNOO, it's my definition for example, let's say the pig or the flesh of the pig. Okay, thank you. Why you called it XNOO? This is in my language. خلاص يا عمي, defined. When you hear me Amjad saying XNOO, I mean, for example, the lard or okay, the swine meat or the pig or خلاص. I defined what does this sound mean. This is called, that's why no definition, no prohibition. And the example that I used to use since 22 years, when I started using this example, it was my first year at university as a doctor. It was 2003. What happened in 2003? When America invaded Iraq. What was the justification for the attack? They were fighting terrorism. So they said they want to stop terrorists from using mass destruction weapons. Okay. So we have to fight to fight what? Terrorists. Okay. What is terrorism, Mr. Bush? No definition. Never ever. Yeah, okay. we will fight terrorism, but let's agree what terrorism is. What is it? Because when you define it, it might be applicable on some of them. Yes. What is terrorist? A group of people attacking other. Wait. But this is applicable on this group. Oh no, they are our allies. It's not. Okay, another definition. Start blah 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 blah. No, it's applicable on the other friends of us. Okay, another definition. Blah 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 blah. It's applied on this. No, okay, leave it. Okay. We will tell you, anyone who's with us is a freedom fighter. Anyone who's against us is a terrorist. So there's no definition. Because when you define, restrictions clear for you and against you. That's why Muslims are proud always they define what they are talking about. I will not come and tell you, hey, believe in Allah. Okay, who's Allah? Ya Ammi, believe in Allah. No, give me the definition. Who's Allah? Allahu la ilaha illa huwa al-hayy. There's definitions for him. حي القيوم لا تأخذه سنة ولا نوم من ذا الذي يشفع عنده إلا بإذنه يعلم ما بين أيديهم وما خلفهم. There are specific definitions for him. That's why we need to know the attributes. He is the one who does not die. He does not need to eat. He is the creator, the only one. He's the one who's in charge of giving everything. Ar-Rabb, Ar-Razzaq. He is the sustainer. He is. Okay. So therefore, when I tell you, be careful not to commit apostasy, when you know the definition, if you do something against this definition, you will be out of the fold of this definition. That's why we need the knowledge to understand what we are talking about. Now, let's come to one of the definitions that I chose from a number by Imam al-Nawawi, which is a very well-known scholar, radiyallahu anhu wa rahimahullah. I will say it in Arabic very quickly, then I will go word by word because definitions are very important. Imam Nawawi says, الردة apostasy قال قطع الإسلام بنية أو قول كفر أو فعل سواء قاله استهزاء أو عنادا أو اعتقادا فمن نفى الصانع أو الرسل أو كذب رسولا أو حلل محرما بالإجماع كالزنا أو نفى وجوب مجمع عليه أو تردد به كفر. طب let's go. Imam Nawawi, one of the great scholars of Islam, says apostasy قال قطع الإسلام بنية أو قول كفر أو فعل. When you decide to disconnect yourself from Islam by قال بنية, which means you have the intention. I have the intention. I intended that I don't want Islam. I don't belong to Islam. I committed apostasy. I have a clear intention that I don't want this deed. Or قول, by saying a word that I declare والعياذ بالله I am not a Muslim, I don't want. So if I have the intention, or I said it, verbally said it, or قال بقول أو فعل, or sometimes without saying this word, لا, committing a blasphemy, اللي هو تجذيف على الله, يعني والعياذ بالله شتم الدين. When I say such and such F word against the religion, of the F word against Allah Himself, like many youth they do now, even Muslims here. Well, I was told they are speaking, F word for God. What? This is apostasy. You leave Islam. So it's not a joke. طيب قال أو فعل. So doing, for example, if I'm holding a piece, والعياذ بالله, Quran, for example, Mus'haf, I say, hey, let's get it. I throw it intentionally, knowing that it is Quran. I'm committing an act of ridda and kufr, والعياذ بالله. Or, والعياذ بالله, if I'm holding a piece of the Quran and I spit knowingly with the intention, this is called fi'l mukaffir. If I prostrated for a statue, this is the classical old thing, but now we have a lot of af'al mukaffirat. So Imam Nawawi say, if I have the intention to disconnect from Islam, or saying something which disconnect me from Islam, or doing something which disconnects me from Islam, قال أو فعلا سواء قاله, whether this what he has said, if he said it استهزاء أو عنادا أو اعتقادا. If I, for example, I said a word against Allah or against the angels, I make fun of the angels, whether I was mocking or believing what I'm saying, even if I was just mocking, I don't have the intention, I'm committing kufr. Wow. Look how serious it is. قال سواء قاله استهزاء أو عنادا أو اعتقادا. عنادا, which means out of stubbornness, which means, hey, don't make jokes against Allah. I will say it. What can you do for me? I'm committing kufr now. Someone is reminding me. Imagine that I was not aware and I was making a joke against Jibreel alayhi salam, or Marra Jibreel, Jibreel came and I was laughing. One say, ittaqillah, hey, fear Allah. It's not permissible, it's haram to say. You said, what can you do? I will make the joke. What can you do? Do you dare to speak with me? He said, this is called out of stubbornness now, okay? As if, arrogance. Now I will do it. I'm committing kufr as well. قال فمن نفى الصانع أو الرسل, anyone who rejects or who denies the existence of the Creator or the prophets, أو كذب رسولا, or he declared that he believes that this prophet is a liar, أو حلل محرما بالإجماع, or he believes that something that agreed upon that it is haram, he says no, it's not haram, such as drinking alcohol or committing the zina, for example. If one say, I don't think committing zina or drinking alcohol is haram, if he himself knows what he's saying, he's committing kufr. Or al-aks, which is the opposite. I say, no, I think prayer and hijab, they are not compulsory. Knowing what he's saying, he's committing kufr. This is definition. قال أو عزم على الكفر, even if someone had the intention that I will commit kufr in 10 minutes, he has already committed kufr. Yes. So this is one of the most important definitions, which means the area of faith by respecting Allah and His religion. It's not an area of mocking or playing games or, making any kind of fun. Subhanallah. If we, the human beings, sometimes we have like taboos. They call it taboo. Some certain political things, the people, they don't dare discuss. Why? Consequences. Religious things. Why? Now we have some certain words you can't say because it's called racism. So you don't even make jokes. You don't dare to make jokes against some certain people because it's considered by law what? Racism. And it could lead you to jail. So many people, they say, hey, please don't make jokes. This is against the law. Subhanallah. Same thing we have, it's against. But this is just a man-made law in a location. This is Allah's law. And by the way, this is now message number 1. What's the definition of ridda or apostasy? طيب. If someone committed ridda, God forbid, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect you, but you need to know, because sometimes it's our duty to educate the people around us, our families, the people. If someone knowingly means he's not an ignorant, okay? He was not, for example, out of his conscience. He was not drunk. He was not under the drugs. He was not ignorant or something. No, knowingly understand what he's saying. He did this, and he became a murtad, an apostate. The murtad, such as, for example, committing blasphemy against Allah. 25 years making jokes. He was laughing by cursing Allah. But what is his status from Islamic faith point of view? By committing this, if he passed away, now he considered non-Muslim. He should not be washed the ghusl of the deceased, and should not be buried in any Muslim cemetery, and we are not allowed to pray janazah on him. And if he is married, his marriage contract is immediately invalid, and if he touched his wife and slept with the intimacy and she became pregnant out of him, this is an illegitimate child, even haram. Because they are not married anymore. The marriage contract is not valid because he's a non-Muslim now. He left Islam. So, and if he, according to some opinions, if he passed away, or if someone passed away from around him, he will not be inherit. He will not inherit, and he will not be inherited. It's a disaster. If someone became an apostate, it's a disaster in Islam. It's not a joke at all. Imagine by just making these jokes, if I passed away, wal-'iyadhu billah, Muslims are not allowed to prepare me for janazah or to pray the janazah or to take me or to bury me. So, by the way, youth should be aware of this. Because from what I hear, that it's very common. The other day I made a khutbah about this. Because I saw a short video by an American, I don't know, he's a Christian preacher or just a stand-up comedian. You know, sometimes these reels and shorts you see, but you don't know what's the background. You don't know where is he, because it's just very quick. So someone, from the action, he's an American, as if he's stand-up comedian. He was making fun of the hellfire. And the people, they were laughing and clapping, ha ha ha. They were making fun of the day of judgment and making fun. I said, La ilaha illallah. They are making fun, laughing as if, Allah, it's a very funny joke. I said, Ya Allah. So I made the whole khutbah about. So I said, from my experience, long time ago, when I was a young man, 40 years ago, back in, this is what I said. I said, I remember, to the best of my memory, I'm from Jordan, Palestine, Syria, Lebanon, and Iraq. To the best of my knowledge, the only 5 Arab countries which they have spread widely in the streets what we call shatm al-dhat al-ilahiyya, which is committing blasphemy. It's easily, you can find youth, you know, when they are angry or they fight or something, they say such and such, and they make like something like the F word against Allah or against Islam, unfortunately. When I finished, many people came to me. Many people, including 2 of them. One of them, one who has graduated from Canadian, he's working now, an engineer. He said, Doctor, I wish if I knew that I will tell you that most of my Muslim friends, Mashi, whenever they sit with Muslims and non-Muslims, most of the time they use the F word against God easily, and they don't have any problem in listening or sharing with it. I said, Ya Allah. I said, yes. Then one from the administration came to me from Egypt. They said, why you did not mention Egypt? I said, to the best of my knowledge, it does not. He goes, no, it's widespread in the street. So please, next time when you say Jordan, Palestine, Syria, Lebanon, Iraq, and Egypt. What's this? Wallahi, when I was young, the custom was they commit blasphemy when they are angry, which means they will say such and such F word against Allah if they are fighting or very angry. Now they do it when they are what? Joking. 40 years, this is enough. I got back 50 to 40, I'm 58 now. So I remember at least it was 50 years. It was just when someone is angry, when they are fighting. Now, making fun, enjoying the time. Wallahi, sometimes if he wants to ask him for a cigarette, they say, hey, hatlak cigarette, such and such, F word against Allah. Making fun. So when we speak about hurub al-ridda, let's make analogy, qiyas on our time. Those people who decided to leave Islam or decided not to pay zakah or stop praying to fight, they are not far from many people whom us who are committing ridda now. So this is the important, it's not just a historical event. Oh, nice. This is the meaning of ridda. Thank you, Shaykh, mashallah. So this is the meaning of, yes, some people, they are committing ridda now. So this is the meaning and this is the end result. Time. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad. Sorry. This is the definition. Now the reasons. Some scholars, they collected the most important reasons why those people committed this kind of apostasy. Why? They recited, by the way, this is the definition as a terminology. What is the linguistic meaning of ridda? Irtadda, which means going back. When I go back, reverse, this is called ridda, okay? Now, why they decided to return back or on their back or go back, it's a metaphor to leave Islam. So they were proceeding with Islam. No, I stopped. I will go back. I don't want Islam. Why? The most common reasons which were, let's say, noticed by the scholars are the following. Number one, قال الصدمة بموت الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم. The shock for some of them that the Prophet died. So they were expecting as if it's like a fairy tales. This is like an angel who will not die. It's a human being. وما محمد إلا رسول قد خلت من قبله الرسل أفإن مات أو قتل انقلبتم على أعقابكم. And by the way, Muhammad is not just a human being. He was preceded by many prophets and messengers. So Allah, revealed this. Umar al-Khattab himself, what happened to him? He said, يزعم أقوام أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم, even Umar ibn Khattab was not able to grasp the idea at the very beginning of the shock. It was a very psychological, big, as if, okay, they know it in theory, but when it happened, you know, it was very big burden against them. So some of them, they committed apostasy because of this. قال رقة الدين. You know, when you say رقة الدين, their, let's say, connection with religion, it was very, very weak. Hardly, they have just started becoming a Muslim. So for them, it's not a big deal. Why should I? The most important figure in this religion that I decided to follow has disappeared. Why should I leave it? A third reason, قال السقم في فهم النصوص. You know, when you have sickness in your mind in understanding the text. So some of them, a lot of details. Some of them, oh, what does it mean? Okay, what's the problem? Well, why not to do this? Why? Because when they felt that Muhammad ﷺ has disappeared, everyone started trying to explain any kind of text in the Quran as he wishes, from his point of view. Why not? Who said so? Who, depending on what? قال another reason. قال التفلت من النظام والخروج على السلطة الشرعية. You know, some people, they have this kind of eagerness. They have this kind of tendency, basically, not to restrict themselves. Because, you know, Islam has restriction. I mean, any civil society, does it have restriction or not? If you want to have a civil society, is it full of restrictions or less restrictions? Yani if I ask you this question, you have two societies, more advanced civil society, less advanced civil society. Which one of them contains more restrictions? The more advanced. Why? Because it's very civilized. More restriction in traffic, more restrictions in money transactions, more restriction in your work, more restriction in your words, more restriction in the CCTV. Why? Because it's more advanced. You are more civilized. Subhanallah. So restrictions does not mean backwardness. It means what? More civilization. Subhanallah, in the human sense. So generally, the one of us, we would love not to be restricted, generally. That's why, you know, the whole idea of Islam, now you will be rewarded because you submitted. Submission is against your desire. If you were given, let me ask all of you a question now, including myself. If we were given the choice whether we would love to study and to sit for final exams in our school period, who will us voluntarily will go to any final exam or will study? If it's up to you, and no one will blame you, and you can do whatever you want. There's no restriction such as you will fail, you will be kicked out of the university or the school, and you will have no graduation, no certificate, no work, no nothing. Because just go whatever you want to. Who will study? Who will sit for final exams? Well, all kind of tensions. None of us. Is it restricted? Yes. But because of restriction, you became someone with knowledge. You wanted a degree in engineering, for example, to be mechanical engineering. You will work in big building or civil engineering. 5 years of about an average 10 hours a day. What is this restriction? How many times you left your pillow in the morning because of the final exam? Restrictions. It's against your desire. Yes. Why? Harvard graduate. Good, nice, may Allah accept. But what about Jannah graduate or Dunya graduate entitled to go to Jannah with the same thing, which is much, much more bigger. So now, one of the main reasons, قال التفلت والخروج عن السلطة. التفلت, which means, okay, it's my opportunity, I don't want any kind of restrictions. Another reason, قال العصبية القبلية. When you have this kind of very strong tribal connections and you have this kind of support for your tribe, and this happened with the most three well-known people, Musaylam al-Kadhab من اليمامة, the area of al-Yamama, and al-Aswad al-Ansi from al-Yemen, and the third one, Tulayha, I think his name, wait, just remember his name, Tulayha al-Asdi, yes, منطقة حائل now, Shamal Najd. For example, most of those people, when they claim, the people around them, they know that they are liars, but they are what? From their tribe, the blood relations. The blood relations. And it happens, and by the way, blood relations plays, it's a two-edged sword. for Arabs in specific, because we have very strong blood relation. Blood relation means, in addition to the ethical Sharia things which supports the idea of taking care of you because you are my cousin, you're my paternal, maternal, you are, my in-laws, I'm your in-laws or whatever. In addition to that, it plays of support, social security, we take care of each other, but it has a side effect as well. When you commit a crime, when you do something wrong, I will support you because you are my cousin, even though I know you are doing wrong. So Islam came, they have this kind of strong relations, and they make it more powerful, but with high ethical standards under the law of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So those people still, the bad way of blood relations and tribal connections still, embedded them. Once Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam left, say, okay. And some of them they used to say, he said, well, Allah, I know that the prophet of Quraysh or Bani Hashim is the true prophet, and I know that my prophet, which for example Musaylama, is a false one, but mine is more beloved to me. Which means, I know he's a liar, but he's my cousin. Does it happen? Yes. This قال another reason from why they قال الطمع في الملك. Some of them, they wanted to be, they are looking for the power, the control, the authority. They want to be kings. They thought Muhammad was a king. He was not a king. Muhammad, if he wants, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give him a planet Earth for him. It's nothing. Muhammad was a prophet, a messenger, representative of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. For them, they think prophethood is just a prestige. So, this is one of the main reasons why apostasy happened. قال طيب اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد قال أصنافها, the classification, the categories of ridda. So has all of them, they committed the ridda in one way or they differ. For example قال منهم من ترك الإسلام جملة وتفصيلا وعاد الوثنية. So we have different levels and categories of apostasy. Some of them, they decided from Arabs to leave everything in Islam and to return back completely to paganism, completely. قال ومنهم من ادعى النبوة. Some of them did not reject the idea of prophethood, but he claimed prophethood to himself. He said, there is Allah, I will not go to the Jahiliyyah, and there is a book from this God, but I am the prophet. Such as Musaylama al-Kadhab. قال ومنهم من دعا إلى ترك الصلاة. Some of them, they declare just, okay, we will stay Muslims, but we will not pray. It's very restricted. Why to wake up for the Fajr and the Isha? And just forget it. Some of them, they call to stop paying the Zakah. So it differs. So it depends. Every tribe has their own shaitan. So it depends how successful their shaitan was with them. Some of them, they rejected everything. Some of them, some of Islam. قال اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد. Now the most well-known الأسود العنسي باليمن, مسيلم الكذاب باليمامة. اليمامة, when you say اليمامة, it's now part of what we call إقليم نجد. Now if you consider that this is the Arabic Peninsula, which contains, if you consider you are looking to Arabic Peninsula now, okay, which is most of it now Saudi Arabia, okay. Now Saudi Arabia, in the south we have Yemen, then here we have Oman, here we have UAE, Qatar, Bahrain, okay, but most of it now is Saudi Arabia. Now from your left, which is here, this is Hijaz. We have Medina and Mecca. Here is Najd. Okay? Now, south of Najd is Al-Yamama. North of Najd is Ha'il. Here is Musaylam al-Kadhab and Al-Yamama, and here is Ha'il. Musaylam al-Kadhab, his area now is exactly the biggest suburbs of Riyadh now. The area of Riyadh now, historically, is the area of Musaylama al-Kadhab at that time. Just to know the geographical, when we speak of where is Yamama, where is it, north, south? No, it's in the mid, then in the south of the mid, which is now the greater Riyadh area. So this is the most three well-known. Al-Aswad al-Ansi, Yemen, which is completely south or Arabic Peninsula now. Very far from there. Now, the area of Riyadh, as we know now, Abu Musaylama al-Kadhab, in the north of Najd, which is Ha'il now, Allahumma salli Muhammad, Tulayha al-Asdi, Shamal Sharq Najd. These are the most well-known who claim that they are prophets and they want to claim prophethood for them. Fine. Now to see what did Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, what was his attitude from al-Murtaddin. Now let me just say something very important, which could be the most important part of my session today. And please focus on this. Some people look, especially some atheists or some Islamophobic or haters of Islam, say, look, how come you say no compulsion in religion? You know, this is it a valid one or not? لا إكراه في الدين. They came to religion, they decided to leave the religion. Why you are forcing them? Why you are fighting them? Now, pause, go back to square number one. Anyone who thinks in this way, he thinks in the secular Islam. He's seeing and judging Islam through European Christian historical glasses, which is not applicable in Islam. Religion, when religion is mentioned, according to the most common dominant way of thinking, which is the Western way, it comes from their experience with religion. What is religion for them? Christianity. What happened with the Christianity in the about 225 years ago, French Revolution? Secularism. What does it mean? They ended up to minimize religion to be just a spiritual, private affairs, Sunday supplications, Sunday services, and spiritual between you and your Lord. But religion has nothing to do with politics. Religion has nothing to do with international politics. Religion has nothing to do with finance. Is it an Islamic way of thinking or a non-Islamic? It's not my problem. This is Western European problem. So when they say religion, it's their way of religion. For me, religion is a system of life. Quran is a constitution for humanity which contains spiritual, faith, actions, deed, money, finance, politics, everything. It is a system to manage everything in your life, including politics, including state. So, for us, Ridda should be viewed from political point of view in our nowadays language now. Ridda, it's a declaration of a war against the regime and the system which governs this country. Here should come the question. Give me now any democratic liberal, what do you think is the best democratic liberal state now? I'm asking seriously, what is the best democratic liberal, as majority of people think? Not you as a Muslim. According to the majority of people think, when they say, okay, look to this example, this is the best democratic, for example, give me an example.
Norway.
Huh? Norway. Right. If a group of Norwegian people now, they started gathering themselves with weapons and they want to destroy the government and to avenge them and to kill them. The Norwegian police and army, they will fight them and stop them or not?
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's a democratic country.
But they're not following the law.
But it's a democratic country.
Democracy doesn't mean that you do whatever you feel like.
Exactly. This is what I'm telling you. Even though it's believed to be democratic and liberal, they will fight them because they want what? To demolish the system. This is what I want to tell you. And this is applicable in Germany. It's applicable in UK, France, America, whatever, any country now. Even non-religious. We say, hey, this is our system, our government. So anyone who's declaring the war against the system is what? What do you call that? High treason, khiyana uzma. This is what they call. So when you discuss apostasy with a non-Muslim, please explain to him, you need to understand it through the political glasses, not the religious Western glasses. Because religious Western glasses means religion should not be connected with politics. Here comes this kind of mess. For me, it's the system of life. So when they decided to attack Islam, they were not attacking the supplications and the ad'iyah and the spiritual, beautiful Sufi heart. No, they were attacking the full system. They want to demolish what? The regime completely of Islam as a ruling system. So that's why Abu Bakr fought them. Because some people, they say, you Muslims are hypocrites. You claim that you believe in your Quran, la ikraha fi din, and you feel proud of preaching this, which is true. No compulsion in religion. How come he's fighting? No. They are fighting not the religion in your mind. They are fighting the full system, and they want to destroy it. That's why he decided to fight them. So use the political language to explain the historical events when we speak about religion. Okay? So this is number one. Now, Abu Bakr, what he did, now, this meaning that I explained to you, Abu Bakr, in a very high rhetorical language, he made a khutbah. He explained to the people why he decided to fight those people. Because, by the way, Sahaba, on top of them, Umar, he was rejecting the idea. He said, Ya Abu Bakr, how come you fight someone who declares Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah? Because some of them, they kept saying La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah, but they decided not to pray. Some of them, they kept saying La ilaha illallah, okay, but they changed Muhammad Rasulullah. Some of them, they kept La ilaha Muhammad Rasulullah, but they stopped paying the zakah. Okay, on what base? This is what I'm explaining to you. He made a long khutbah. It's nearly impossible to translate because of very, very high Arabic rhetorical, okay, language. The core meaning is what I explained to you.
If it is possible, if you could do it like in the next session, some part of it.
I skipped it. I read it twice. I hardly will be able to explain it to Arabs. Hardly. Arabs, I can assure you, if I read it just without explanation, 90% of Arabs will think I speak Chinese. It's a very high standard Arabic. That's why I decided not to write it here. But the core meaning was explaining to them the history. We came. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I put some of the notes from the khutbah. He reminded them about the blessings and the bounties of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala upon them. That when they declared that we are Muslims, you want to defend the religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he explained that those murtaddeen, those apostates, when they declare this, it's not something personal, it destroys the whole Islam. So explain this, but in about maybe 2 paragraphs with a high rhetorical language. Wallahu alam. Now, Umar radiallahu anhu, by the way, he was on the top of those who rejected the idea. And he kept, arguing with Abu Bakr till Abu Bakr insisted. He explained as I was explaining to you now. Look at yourself before I explain now. Yes. La ikraha fi din. How come we fight? When I explained, wait, listen. He said, now, even non-Muslims, they do it always. It's called now apostasy. It's called now high treason. Khiyana, Udma, against this system, against the ruling system. Oh, it does make sense. Wow, I understood now. Thank you. Thank you for explaining. The same thing happened with Umar. Then Umar, one of the things that he said, قال لقد رجح إيمان أبي بكر بإيمان الأمة جميعها في قتال أهل الردة. Umar, after the vision became clear in his mind, and anyone who was supporting his idea, he said, and Allah gave him this kind of tranquility in his heart to accept the opinion of Abu Bakr, the Khalifa. He said, رجح إيمان أبي بكر. It has been approved that the faith of Abu Bakr and the wisdom that Allah has given him is much, much beyond all of the ummah faith and understanding. That's why, because of this, some scholars, I remember when I was doing my bachelor degree about 40 years ago, well, I remember this, it was very, very, I was touched by this statement. And the statement says, قال عبر تاريخ الإسلام انحرف كثير من حكام المسلمين. Statement says, during the history of Islam, we had a lot of bad, corrupted, deviated Muslim rulers, which is true. We have a lot of, traitors in the history, in many countries, in Iraq, in Syria, in Palestine, in wherever you go, always with the Crusaders, with the colonials, with the French, with the all we had. قال لكن لولا اثنين عبر التاريخ لجاء الإسلام نفسه منحرفا. Unless Allah has supported this religion with two people during the history, Islam itself would have come, corrupted. Islam itself. We have a lot of corrupted Muslims, but Islam itself would have come corrupted unless Allah has protected Islam by two people. Number one, Abu Bakr, حروب الردة. Number two, Ahmad ibn Hanbal and فتنة خلق القرآن. I explained it. Abu Bakr, if he accepted, I say, wait. For political, strategic way of thinking, we should keep silent. Okay, let's them now not pay the zakah. Let's them now not pray. Let's them now keep drinking alcohol. What will remain from Islam? Nothing. Because 100 years later, or at least 300 years, when the Mughal and the Tatars, they came and attacked, and they said to stop. Say, wait, we are not better than Abu Bakr and Umar. When he had this kind of disaster at that time, because of the apostasy and because of the possible attack of the Romans, he accepted them not to pay the zakah, not to pray. It is a valid Islam. So by hundreds of years, people will receive Islam without prayer, without zakah, without hijab, without the prohibition of zina, with the full permission of riba. For you and me, maybe now, God forbid, if Abu Bakr allowed this, maybe we will think, while we are committing now riba, zina, and drugs, we are Sahaba. Because simply Islam itself will come corrupted. How was it protected? By Abu Bakr. Radiallahu anhu. When you think about it, because it's subhanallah. رضي الله عنه وأرضاه. Second person, Ahmad ibn Hanbal, فتنة خلق القرآن. It's a long story. I will not open it now. Later on, I will explain, because in the history, if Allah kept my soul in my body, maybe we will reach to this, because we are, rightly guided Khalifs. Then we speak about how Islam was spread in Islamic history. Then we'll speak, inshallah, about Umayyad, about the Abbasid, maybe we'll come to the Abbasid period. We'll speak about Ahmad ibn Hanbal and فتنة خلق القرآن, Harun al-Rashid. If we stayed live, inshallah, we will cover it, inshallah, بإذن المولى عز وجل, inshallah. This is the most important saying. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. Next time, inshallah, we will continue this kind of tips and small things about حروب الردة بإذن الله. Next time, I will remind you again, just very quickly, with جمع القرآن, with what I did last time, how they collected the Quran, just in case some of you did not, because it's very important to know it, inshallah, بإذن الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.